Okay, so today what I wanted to, or sorry, in this tutorial, what I wanted to do is go over some of the stuff that was covered last time in terms of how to start creating a perspective drawing, in this case, a section perspective, using the clipping plane and then also the trim command. So here is, if you can see my model, I got it in perspective view right here. Type in viewport properties, and then the viewport properties panel should appear. I don't know where it is here. Just bear with me while I find it. There it is. I think I closed it. So again, I'm on a Mac. This might be a bit different than what your interface is, but the basics are the same here. So making sure that I got my perspective here selected. And yeah, then I just kind of play around with it. We talked in class last time about messing around with this lens length, so you can get maybe like a more human view. So try making it really small, like something like maybe 20. Notice the change. Make it even smaller, something like 10. Kind of try zooming in. Right, notice the change here just by changing the lens length. Make it something super small, like 5, and you get a lot of weird, sort of exaggerated views. I'm gonna do, you can kind of play around and pick one that's sort of good for you. I'm gonna do 15, I guess. Lucky number. And then, okay, starting to get an idea now. Over here, I'm gonna get rid of these guys. I'm gonna make a copy of my model because this is the procedure I'm going to use now to make the section is destructive. So I want to save the original. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it over here. Click my ortho, move it over. Let's see. Move it over. Let's say 500 feet, which is 6,000 inches. Let's get rid of this 2. So copy, move it over 500 feet, 6,000 inches. Good. All right, so I'm going to go back into my perspective view, and I got my new one over here. Okay, you see everything is all on one layer. I'm going to try and mix things up a little bit by changing that around. So I'm going to move this viewport thing away. Named views, I'm gonna move away. I'm gonna just create some layers. I'm gonna take all of the columns here and I'm gonna put them on their own layer. So I got a column, see right here. Oh wait, no, I don't even have it yet. I'm gonna make a new layer. I'm gonna call it columns. I'm gonna make it, change the color here, maybe make it green. Put all these columns on that layer. Some of these surfaces are getting in my way here, so I'm gonna select all the surfaces. And I'm just going to hide them for the moment so they don't get in my way. Now it's gonna be nice and easy to select these. Sometimes you gotta hide stuff. Come over here to object properties and change the layer to columns. All right, cool, let's just lock those. So I see some curves hanging out over here and I wanna keep things organized, so I'm gonna select all the curves. And then I'm going to put them on a layer called curves, and I'm going to turn that layer off. I don't want to mess with those right now. Okay. All right, so we got columns. Don't know why there's a layer called hatch. I'm going to delete that. Just delete some of these things here. Clean up my... All right. So, these top volumes, I'm going to put them in their own layer as well. This way, when I do my Make 2D later, when I'm working with this, everything will be nice and organized. So you should get in the habit of doing this too. I'm going to call this top volumes. And I'm going to give that a different color, like a pink. Okay, sorry. Forgot to actually change them. It's an important step. So I come up here, object properties, and put them in top volumes. How about here? I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to call this base. I'm going to make that pretty blue. Put the base down in there. And let's not forget to show what we hid before, all these walls. I'm gonna make them, I'm gonna select those guys, make a new layer here, call it, I don't know, mid walls. Make that a dark blue, if I want, and then put those in there. Now everything's a bit more organized. Okay. So we don't want just a regular perspective drawing. We want to do section perspective. I got my viewpoint properties over here. Lens length 15. Okay, now I'm going to think. I'm going to play around and see what kind of section perspective I want. And to do that, I'm going to use the clipping plane. So I'm going to type in clipping plane. First, I'm going to go to like the front view of this. So select my thing. Go to front view, decide where I want this to be taken from. Is that what I want? Let's see where I'm at here. So I'm going to type in my for view just to see what I'm looking at here. That's what I got selected. That's what's going on the top. This is what's going on the right. And that is the front. Okay. Interesting. Oh, because it's in front of that. All right. I'm going to do it from my right view, but test it around. I'm going to do clipping. I'm going to type in clipping plane. And I'm going to see where I'm at in my perspective view. Now, here's the thing to remember. You may have to enable the clipping plane in the view that you're looking at. And I got my gumball on here. And I can just move it back and forth. Just drag it back and forth to see if you can find a section that you like. I want to get something kind of dynamic here, kind of interesting. So, I mean, you could also practice with rotating the clipping plane around, right? You could switch off ortho and rotate it and start to get some interesting sections that way. Okay, I'm going to just do a straightforward one for now. Nothing too fancy, but I encourage you to play around with it. All right, that could be fun. Plane on like that. Good. And I'm going to take my clipping plane and I'm going to put it on its own layer as well, just to keep everything nice and organized the way I like. So I'm going to make a new layer over here. I'm going to call it clipping. Make that a nice red color. And then take my clipping plane and put it there on clipping. That way I can always have it switched on and off. It's bugging me. Okay. Now since I've decided I kind of like this view here, this is kind of the view that I'm interested in. That might be a little too close. Play around with it. I'm going to save this view. I'm going to go to my type in named views. Brings up my named view panel. And I'm going to call this something, I'm going to call it good one. So now even if I lose good one, I always can get it back. All right, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to get out a good one for a second, just go back up to my normal perspective. perspective. And yeah, I'm going to now disable the clipping plane because I want to, get rid of the part of the model that I'm not using so I can manipulate it a bit more and really know about the view that I'm choosing here. So I'm going to switch off my clipping plane for the moment, or disable it. Now, that same layer, I'm going to create a surface. So I'm going to go up to surface and create a surface using corner points. And I'm just going to make this surface right on top of my clipping plane. I'm going to initiate the trim command, asking me for my cutting object. So that's what I want to cut with. Go to top view over here. Let's actually go to 4 view. Right, that's what I want to cut with. And then now it's asking me select objects to trim. I like to trim in top view in this case. It gets rid of all of that. And now we're done. You can see I'm going to have some columns left over here, so I'm going to get rid of those too. Can I select those? Something is locked for some reason. Oh, the columns are locked. Good. I'm going to delete those. I'm going to go to my good one and see what it looks like. Okay. Let's switch off that clipping plane that we just used. Aren't going to be needing that. Now this is the beginning of my section perspective. Now, there's a few different ways to do this, but I'm going to build this out a little bit more. And actually, I think I will do that in the next part or the next tutorial. So I am going to close out of this one, but that basically is clipping plane, using the trim command, saving a view to get your section perspective started. Okay, thank you.